Hello, everybody. Pastor Terry here, just sitting in front of the church by the table. We have Thanksgiving coming up here this week. And Thanksgiving is one of those great holidays, getting together, all the great food, incredible, get to be with family. That was typically is the biggest travel period or holiday of the whole year. People want to go home for Thanksgiving. This year's obviously a little different. Many people are still having their Thanksgiving get-togethers. Some of them are altering them a little bit. Some are not participating. Some are just like, nope, not doing anything at all. Whatever your choice is, make your decision in your family. But I do want something for us to think about. We are being advised, ordered, instructed, however you want to say it, depending on the state, depending on the city, that we are to stay away from people. Stay away from those who are not from our own households. And if we do, whether you mask, you keep your distance. When we go shopping, we go out somewhere, they want you to wear your mask, keep a distance. So, it's like, you might say hi to someone, but, they're kind of a distance away. It's like there's a danger there. They might have something that could hurt me. There's a risk there, so I'm going to keep my distance away. When we have someone who is sick, we quarantine them. Isolate them from other people. Person goes into the hospital, we generally, it's going to be very difficult to visit them. I mean, it's possible you can get approved, but it's getting much more difficult again. It's been difficult, but it's even more so, and they may have it where there's pretty much a no-visitor policy for most. For many of them, again, from prisons, the same thing, and then we can also look at nursing homes, senior care centers, and so forth. Again, it's very restrictive if you are allowed in. We're very, very, like you can do through a window, some places, or some you have like a plastic wall between you and so forth. But that's kind of what they're doing. They're really limiting that. That's what we've been told, and that's, we're doing this to save lives. Jesus commanded us and told us that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. So that's the greatest command. Now the second is to love your neighbor as yourself, which is not really that much different than the other one. But I want you to think about those four parts. Because right now, what are we doing? Is the strength, is the physical part. We are protecting the physical body from this virus. But what about the emotion? What about the mental? And what about the spiritual health of people as well? I have to confess, sometimes you can get caught up in things. And I admit, you kind of thought about it, but you hadn't really focused upon that. And realized, we're kind of neglecting that part of it. Yeah, we talked about depression, but just never really put the glue together where God kind of did. It said that, hey, there's more to a person than their physical body. And he's right. There's more to me than just my strength. There's also my heart, which is my center of emotions. There's my mind for the discernment, the thinking, the emotion, and so forth, the feeling and the thinking, if you will, the mental health. And then you also have your soul, which is spirit, like you say, your spiritual health. And you could kind of equate them to the different parts. It's like we're neglecting 3 out of the 4 core essence of what it means to be a human being. We're neglecting those parts. Not everybody is, but in many ways we are. So as Christians, how can we help overcome that? So when you're at Thanksgiving, and there's someone in your family, or maybe even a neighbor that you know that they're not doing anything for it, or they're kind of alone, then what should we do? Take something from our table and put it, say, hey, look, I'm going to bring this over. Is this okay? I'll put it on your porch if need be. Oh, thank you. You don't have to do that. No, do that. Even if they're like, well, I might have a son who might stop by. No, we still want to do this for you. And then, or you have somebody you can call them or send letters to them, or maybe even do a video with them or something like that they can look on. Maybe they don't have that capability, but at least you do something for them to think of them. And keep doing that through the rest of December, through Christmas and New Year's. And do that to get through this winter. This is going to be a hard winter for a lot of people, particularly those who are alone, those who don't have a whole lot of family. It's going to feel really kind of weird and lonely and very depressing for a lot of people. We should do our best we can to love them, not just their physical health, but love them for the mental, spiritual, and emotional health as well. To know that their lives do matter. We're not going to isolate them and shove them away. Instead, we want to reach out to them with love. And maybe in unique and different ways than we've done before. Also, if you run across someone who is struggling, someone who is hurting, and you're talking with them, and you know what, and they're willing to say, and you're just like, you know what, I feel like you need a hug. And they're like, is that okay? I'm willing to give you one. And if they're willing, give them a hug. You say, I can't do that. I can't do that. They told me I'm not supposed to do that. I got a social distance. I can't. No. Do that. Because if you do, you're following the example of Jesus. If you recall, there was a leper who came, Matthew chapter 8, right in the beginning. And he came up, fell on his knees before Jesus and said, if you are willing, you can make me clean. And what did Jesus do? He reached out and said, I am willing. And there's a man clean just like that? No, Jesus reached out and touched him. The word can also be kind of like almost like embraced him. In other words, he loved this man. This man, because he was a leper, probably did not have someone who was a close loved one touch him with compassion and so forth for quite some time because he was a leper. He had to be socially distant. He had to declare that he was unclean. People couldn't do him. You know what they also would do? If they brought food to him, they'd lay it down somewhere and they'd walk away, and then the leper would come and would take the food basket or would take the food bundle and so forth and away. They wouldn't touch. That's what we're doing today with COVID-19 in people's homes. Dropping the groceries in their front door, they open up their front door and they pull it in. And that's what we're doing. It's the same kind of thing. And if this person's saying, you know what, I really could use a hug. It's like, I'll give you a hug. I'm willing to do it. Why? Because of the love of Jesus Christ compels me to do this. We are not just mere physical beings. We are spiritual beings, emotional beings, and we are mental beings. We need to be healthy holistically, not just physically, but the whole being we need to care for. The church understands this. We need to somehow bridge that gap to fill in the gap that is in there where we're only as a world and societies only really addressing the physical need. We need to address the others. So pray about it, be careful, but keep your eyes open and say, Lord, who can I help during this potentially kind of rough winter for people? Particularly during Thanksgiving and Christmas, but it could be kind of depressing for a lot of people because they may not be able to do things the way they want to do. So let us be Jesus to the world. Thank you. I pray that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And give him praise and thanksgiving, but please don't forget those who are hurting.